See where we at, man. Get this party started, man. Yo. Yo, yo, yo. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, you can hear me in the chat. You hear me in the chat? Let me know. Let's see something here. What up, Val? Can you hear me? Let me know if you can hear me, Valerie. You got me? All right, all right, all right, all right. All right, so real fast, I'm gonna get into this thing. I kind of do this every year. I usually be a guest on somebody else's platform. Um, Either I'm a guest on somebody else's joint, or it's definitely the new year. When I get into this, man, I couldn't find my little whiteboard. However, you're gonna have to use your imagination, which is really dope anyway. You know what I mean? Because you get to tight. You get to tap in to that creative force. So July the 4th is only one of two cosmic grand gateways. It's only two of them in the entire year. And you have to understand that your year is not a linear calendar that you look and see January all the way to December. That's not how your year goes. That's on paper. Your year in your mind should be a circle: January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and you're back around where you started. The truth of the matter is, your real year is on a wall clock where you have the numbers in a circle. That is your solar dynamic or your solar timekeeping module. The old school wall clock is giving you the game. All right, peace, bro. And so if you can just imagine that wall clock, the sun is always in the center of the clock. Always at the center of the clock. Okay. Now, this is interesting because I know you can see this with your mind. If you are on the earth, and let's just say you're at 6 o'clock, the earth, you're on the earth at 6 o'clock, what's directly opposite you? Directly opposite you at 6 o'clock is 12 o'clock. But I remember I said the sun is always in the middle. So therefore, when the earth is at 6 o'clock, it gives the illusion that the sun is shining in front of the 12th constellation. Okay. So now let's look at the new year in a sense, which is January the 1st for us. Okay. January the 1st, New Year is approximately about 13 degrees Capricorn. Okay. Capricorn is the 10th zodiac sign. So on the wall clock, the earth is at the 4 o'clock position. The sun appears to be in front of 10 o'clock. And therefore, we say it's Capricorn season, first day of winter, because the sun appears to be in front of the 10th sign. So the earth would be at 4 o'clock position. That's your perception, looking out into space. And then you see the sun shining in front of the 10th constellation Capricorn. Happy New Year. January 1st. Okay. So then 6 months later, because you're at the earth is at the 4 o'clock position, in our calendar time, it's the first month of the year. So 6 months later is going to take us to July. Well, let's keep rotating. If you're at 4 o'clock, okay, 6 numbers later, you're going to be at the 10 o'clock position. So now the earth is at the 10 o'clock position, and the sun looked like it appears in front of the 4 o'clock position where you were 6 months prior. So we call this the beginning of what? The beginning of the we call this the beginning of the summer, Cancer season. Okay. This is now, so now that we in Cancer season, we get first day of summer, June 21st, summer solstice in a sense. Cancer season, we get in 13 degrees Cancer, July around right around now, July 2nd, 3rd, because we don't live in a perfect circle. We live like in this place that's shaped like an egg. See, how can you live in a perfect circle when you have 365 days that has to fit inside of a 360-degree circle in a sense? So technically some days share degrees is what that would mean. So yesterday when I was on here, I was talking about how you can be on the cusp at 10 o'clock and then 11 o'clock that same day, it's a whole new zodiac sign. So degrees are not predicated upon days. On average, it is. But my point is you don't live in a perfect circle. So therefore, a degree can change within the same day. A sign can change if it's on the cusp. It has to change somewhere. It's not going to change the next day. It always change. It can always change again. Like, okay, later that day, it becomes this sign. Okay. And so this cosmic gateway is Sirius, the greatest, brightest star in all of the heavens. Okay. The sun today appears in front of Sirius. Okay. And so now the sun is in front of its sun because Sirius is said to be so bright that it's a sun, but it's so far that it looked like a star. So this is interesting because you got Siri on Apple, right? And then you have Sirius XM radio, the biggest and best satellite radio to do it. So it's kind of like when you pattern yourself after Siri or Sirius, you get some serious guap. You tapping into a whole major force that's running this whole thing. One of the major forces, that the main force that's running this whole thing, the brightest light, because it has a pole companion too on the complete other side called Vega, which Vega literally will be a pole star um, in the upcoming evolution of humanity. Okay. So what I want y'all to really understand is, because from New Year's to now, you're at the 6 month mark. You're halfway through the year right now. Where are you on your own goals? Where are you on your, because today is Independence Day. Where are you on your financial independence, in a sense, right? Because this is the checkup spot. This is how you throw yourself a cosmic alley-oop, by setting 6 month goals. Because again, on a simple wall clock model, wherever the earth is right now, so let's just keep it, let's take constellations out of it, and let's just deal with the months, since you're very, very familiar with the months. So right now, since this is the 7th month and we call this July, let's say that the earth will be in front of 1 o'clock and the sun appears to be in front of 7 o'clock. 6 months later, the earth is going to be at 7 o'clock and the sun is going to appear to be in January, which 6 months from now we know is the new year. So my point with the 6 month thing is this: whatever you're thinking and whatever you're doing at this particular point in space, okay, where the sun is at, 6 months from now, you will be in that same position where the sun is. So you have to learn how to throw alley-oops to the sun, like you're putting the deposit in the sun. And then 6 months later, the earth is going to be there. And then you should be able to see if your goals are growing and if you're on point or not. This is why in this science, the 6 month mark, if you're dealing with the sun, is in complete opposition, because now you're on the other side. So 12 to 6, 1 to 7, 2 to 8, 3 to 9, 10 to 4, 11 to 5, these numbers that are across from each other are known as the opposition mark. And it's very interesting because in relationships, your first test is really about 90 days, but the 6 month mark is a 6 month checkup period, which is just 2 90s. 180 days, 100, I mean, in 90 days and 90 days is 180. So 2-3 months period is, 180 opposition. But the opposition is really supposed to represent balance. It really ain't supposed to be no friction. I keep saying this because the opposition has something in common. Y'all with me in the chat? Let me know if y'all with me. Y'all with me? We gonna preach today. We gonna preach. We gonna preach the 13 stripes. We're gonna preach this number 50. Let me know in the chat if y'all with me. Y'all good? All right. All right. Okay. All right. And so we're gonna have cosmic church today. All right. And so now this is why I'm saying this shit is deeper than rap. It's deeper than conspiracy. You know what I'm saying? Because now this is a fact. When you start researching Sirius, where you see it through, I always say this: God will always show up in the cultural expression, because everything is God. The plant, and I'm not afraid to say it. You know what I'm gonna say next? The dookie is God. Everything is the beautiful play of God. So everything is going to play out. So Sirius XM radio, cool, no problem. Shout out to my dude Sway, because it's so interesting to see Sway, who will have his own show, and his whole thing is Sway's Universe, and then Sway's Universe is on Sirius XM, and Sirius is the brightest star in the heavens that sits within the universe. This shit is magnificent, right? So anyway, when you start getting into the Dogon science, you can go start looking at books, Robert Temple, the ancient mysteries of the Sirius, the ancient mysteries of the Dogon. Then you'll see that the Dogon in West Africa had this profound knowledge of this star constellation of Canis Major and this bright star Sirius. And their legend says, listen, there was light beings who came and populated the earth, Syrian beings. Then you get into Egypt and you start seeing the goddess Sebdek, who later becomes Isis, known as Osset and whatnot. And they're building temples, and the goddess got a star on her head. I'm not making this stuff up. And then Sirius, when it starts to rise, because right now in the sky, the sun in the morning, the sun comes up, and then Sirius is right behind it because they're in the perfect line with one another. Okay. But in your reality, each day the sun is moving more towards the left. Okay. So there's going to come a point in time very soon within a month that Sirius is going to rise first, and then the sun is going to come up. When that happens, that's one of the grand celebrations, because now the goddess star has come back to our viewpoint. See, the sun, because we're moving in the circle. Okay, we're moving in a circle. So look at it like this. The sun is in the middle of that wall clock, and so is Sirius is at the middle of that wall clock too. Okay, I'm going to be very clear about this. So there's a point in time when the earth keeps moving, because the earth is moving around the sun. When the earth keeps moving and it gets to a certain position, it can't see Sirius no more because the angle of the sun. And our earthly reality, when May get here, really around Jude's birthday, this is how I know this stuff is divine. When late May gets here, we start to enter this 70-day period known as the dog days, where this star Sirius is no longer visible because the sun appears to be traveling in front of the constellation Sirius, or the bright star Sirius. Okay, but it's really the earth that's moving, but that's cool. We're going to deal with the illusion. Okay, so now we can't see it for 70 something days, and then where late July, mid-August come, now Sirius comes up, and then the sun comes up, and then that's the great arrival of the goddess has returned. Now the Nile River starts to flood, water starts to rise again, right? And there's a grand celebration in Egypt at this particular time. This is a true story. Okay, very, very true story. This is how it gets down. So there's a strong reference on this central point of light. So this is why I say when you start paying attention to 50 Cent, Kevin Hart, people who were born around this time, July 6th and things of that nature, it's still the same energy. Kevin Hart is one of the illest walking manifestations of the Syrian light that I've ever seen. He literally is one of our great ambassadors of this time. Look at this. Look at the irony of this. He's from Philadelphia, the birthplace of the red, white, and blue. Okay. His last name is Hart. Philadelphia is the city of brotherly love. Philios in Greek, brotherly love. Okay. A heart is something that in our culture that we say is the mechanism that express love. Here it is. Philadelphia has its birthing as July 4th, 1776, when the sun is about 13 degrees Cancer, and Kevin Hart is born in that same pocket like 2 days later, same energy. So what Philadelphia is to the United States, Kevin Hart is the living, walking embodiment of what it looks like. So then when you see Heartbeat Productions, you see, I think he just got up to 60 mil, I think, in Instagram followers not too long ago. You start to see like that's a whole nother level of rock star stuff. Okay. Why him? Why 50 Cent? 50 Cent, same energy. 50 Cent represent the 50 stars, man. Didn't y'all just watch Power? I did. I watched Power. Don't y'all watch Power? Power is on what network? Stars. How many stars in the co-producer? Probably executive producer, 50 Cent. 50 stars, man. He's born in the same pocket. So 50 Cent is really the embodiment of General Ulysses Grant. I'm about to start going everywhere because that's who on the $50 bill. But when you look at 50 Cent is known for what? Getting a shot. And then his album covers is him buffed up with, like, you know, bulletproof vest on and pistol straps. So then he carries this energy of a war general, right? So this war general energy, 50 Cent, I'm telling you, is symbolic for the 50 stars. So now when he say power, okay, when he's telling you about power, that's a spiritual transmission that's letting you know that the power is within you, especially when you understand what this is. So now there's a star, Sirius. Sirius has a companion star that you can't see with the naked eye called Sirius B. And there's actually a C. And about every 50 years, they switch position and do this little figure 8 dance like a strand of DNA. You know how your DNA strand look like the pretzel, like the number 8? Every 50 years, they switch position, change position. That's what they do. So now what happens is the country gets an imprint to say we'll start with 13 colonies, because 13, when the sun is about 13 degrees Cancer, July 4th, 5th, 6th, up in that area, the sun is in front of Sirius. So Sirius is known to be about 13 degrees Cancer back then. Okay. But we only get 50 states because that same star makes a weird little orbit every 50 years. Very interesting. So now here comes the question. Where did they get the idea from? Because this is before so-called founding fathers. The 13 colonies had slaves. The 13 colonies was a group of people who was like, we don't want to be oppressed anymore. We out. New world, here we come. So which really running this program? Because again, when we just did that little short history, you can see that this information, the Sirius alignment, has its, as far as world civilizations go, it has its oldest origin in Africa. I ain't making it up. Europeans get it, or somehow, whether they consciously did it or they subconsciously did it, they start setting up the paradigm that's rooted inside of a cosmic science. So what happens is this, ladies and gents, you better ask yourself, because a lot of people get divorced from this time and it's like, oh man, the 4th of July, and we want to get emotional. And it's only 2 gateways that the Earth, Sun, and Sirius are in a direct line with each other. Okay? It's only 2 times. January the 1st through 5th, that little pocket right there. And then on the other side, July 1st through 5th, around that pocket. Because tomorrow, Google it. Tomorrow is the aphelion. Tomorrow is the day that the sun and earth are at their most furthest point throughout the entire year. Tomorrow. Coincidence that today's July 4th? You see what I'm saying? So we're at our furthest point away from the sun right now in this journey around it. And then we're at our closest point in January. At the same time, in January is Sirius, Earth, Sun. In July, when we over here, is Sirius, Sun, Earth. These are your three wise men. These are your red, white, and blue. The sun looks like it's red. Sirius looks like it's a white star. When you zoom out for Earth, what color do Earth appear? Blue. So these three stars in the heavens are your three wise men in the scripture. This thing is I'm telling you, this thing is a beautiful thing. So it's cosmic. You can't get any emotional rut. How you gonna be independent? You can't get into all that. It ain't about that. The question that you have to ask is, what frequency was coming in to what we would call founding fathers, Abe Lincoln and them, to say we're gonna set it up this way, or I'm gonna do XYZ. I was walking down the street today and I got my shirt on, my Abe Lincoln shirt on, right? And I'm like, and I'm cripping in, I'm blooding today. I'm wearing this, right? I'm cripping in blood. But see, that's a whole nother science too. The Crips and the Bloods is the embodiment of the United States, and the white flag, the white part is always known as the flag of truths. The moment that they see their greatness and understand that you can create in this reality, man, it's gonna be on and popping. So anyway, I'm like, man, because I've heard the story, man, Abe Lincoln didn't even like niggas like that. He had a whole nother plan. And we get into this nice story about how the North was just doing it because they had their own greedy agenda. And for whatever reason, niggas had to get free to feed that agenda, which is absolutely the biggest garbage shit you ever will hear. If you hear shit like that, I am telling you, they are what we can truly call ignorant. And at that point in time, you need to really, you got to be like a bee. Like, I can only take so much from you, because you working from a level of emotion and you don't understand, you don't have cosmic consciousness yet. And that's very important to have. Okay. And so even if he didn't, let's look at the logic. Even if Abe Lincoln didn't like niggas, that's even better, because now here comes a stream of consciousness, a thought for him to say, I don't like these niggas, but whatever my agenda is, I'm gonna have to let them niggas go because I got to get to this agenda, but I don't like these niggas. So obviously, even if he didn't, let's just be real, he didn't like them enough to keep them in that current state. Let's just be 100 about it. So I hope that he didn't like it, because I want to roll with the force that is going to overpower your so-called conscious decisions of, I don't like the niggas. So what was that force that overrode that? I like that force. That's the G force. That's that G funk right there. Okay. We call that G funk. All right. That's that God funk right there. Because it's all about energy. Okay. Straight up. And so this portal, I am telling you, because the day is about independence. And this is the best celebration ever. I'm telling you, this one here is dope, because all of this is about light, right? It's about Sirius, sun, and earth. It's about light. So then we celebrate it by the light, the fire element, firecracker skyrockets up in the air, boom, and it explodes, and you see all these different lights at the time that the three major lights are in alignment with each other. So this is a celebration of the lights. That's something that's in the Judaic Hebrew culture, the festival of lights. You see, we got to know where we at, and then we can start putting in our own cosmic celebrations. But it's already done for you, because it's called holidays. You just got to know what's up, what's happening. So one of the dopest things that you should do today, real talk, because it's about independence. What hinders you? What hinders you, and what decisions do you need to make to free you? And then you should if you can sum it up as a symbol, because you know what the symbol means, put that shit on a firecracker, a bottle rocket, especially a bottle rocket. Put that shit on a bottle rocket, light it, and send that shit out into the ether and let that shit explode. Seriously. For real. You should write your goal on, put a symbol, because if the bottle rocket's not big enough for you to write it all the way out, whatever symbol encapsulates, and it can be whatever symbol you create, because you know what it is. So you the master of this reality. You get to create symbols. Who told you that the S with a line in it or two lines in it represents dollars? Somebody had to create it and you accepted it. So you can create your own symbols. Write your symbol on a bottle rocket, man, and burn that thing, send it up into the ether, and let it explode. Upon explosion, you're free. Excuse me. Now, here goes the thing, though. You live in the world of physicality. You must follow up with action. You cannot. You can. And you damn good if you can sit there and you can mantra and you can imagine for every single thing to take care of itself without you physically putting the work in, and all of a sudden these random events keep popping up to supply you what you need. You the bomb diggy. You the master of all masters when you get to that particular level. Show me. And I know that it can exist, but you live in the world of action. So participate with greatness. So follow up your freedom today with action, because it's your action that's going to keep you free. We had to get on that Underground Railroad. How did we get free on the Underground Railroad? We had to follow stars, man. Am I lying? To get free out of slavery, if you was going to break out, you had to wait for nighttime to come. You had to look for Polaris, the Little Dipper, and then you had to always just go in that direction, due north, and that'll get you up out that situation. Wisdom, North Star. I keep telling y'all this. Then later, what happens? What happens in culture expression? You get free. Industrialization is popping. I'll take industrialization over slavery any day. Raise your hand. Would you rather be a sharecropper slave in the South, or would you rather be working on your own free will and accord up north in places like Detroit, where you have home ownership? You can get you a Cadillac now, because it ain't like niggas got chained up to the machine. So I don't want to hear that trick, because niggas could have very well been chained up to the machines up north and never had a day off and continued slavery in a new form. But instead, they was getting paychecks and start doing their own thing and creating businesses and everything. This is true. So let's just keep it real, okay? So now General Motors come, the Cadillac come. So Cadillac becomes this great emblem of status within the cultural expression everywhere besides New York. They into Hondas and Acuras. It wasn't Cadillacs and North Stars and big Chevys. Like New Yorkers got their own thing. East Coast got their own little thing, right? All points west from the East Coast, okay? Probably starting from Pittsburgh on westward and south, Cadillac was something, okay? General Motors then introduced the North Star engine. Am I lying? I ain't lying. They got North Star engine, man. All right. That was one of the first like satellite type of deals inside of cars. The North Star came. That's how people got free. But you always seen it in the cultural expression. whipping wood wheels, fifth wheel on back. Them fifth wheel on the back, you talking about a sedan DeVille with the slant back ass. You see what I'm saying? So this stuff is a transmission, man. It's a transmission, not the transmission in the car, but a celestial transmission that comes down, that plays itself out through culture. Okay. And so anyway, you know what I mean? Today's a great day, man. Today's a great day. So if y'all got any questions, now's the time you can ask one in the chat. Don't be deceived by your greatness. I don't like no is I hate no no's. No is contraction. Yes is expansion. Why shouldn't you celebrate? You free. You imagine not celebrating where you at right now in space and time, where you have the opportunity to be whatever you want to be, have whatever you want to have, in comparison to 200 years ago, 100 years ago. Come on, man. It's indeed a great day. Let's not make any excuses of why we can't be great. And this is why you can't leave boo-boos in space. I'm going to get into a whole nother subject matter, because the cosmic couple, the conscious person, strives not to leave negative energy in space, because if you funkin', the earth is in space. You got to know that first. It ain't no different than you having a physical fight in the house and you tear up something. The energy ain't right. House is just messed up. Well, when you do that, you're leaving this etheric, energetic imprint in space. So now this area of space, predominantly 9/11, is a negative area of space. You cry, you mourn. July the 4th is a positive area of space, because every year, see you at the cookout, barbecue, kids having fun, the food is going. So July 4th is a positive entry. So we got these sad days and we got these happy days in space. Your job as an individual to yourself is to create as many happy days as possible. Oh, happy days. Why a day? A day is something that's really in space. And you got to fill up this space with happy moments. Because if you don't, when that negative energy sits right here in space, all it takes is a planet to come in that same area of space, or even get on the opposite side of that area of space, and trigger those negative energies. And then those negative energies trickle down and they find a host called somebody in your life who's getting on your mother nerve. And now you got to replay this thing again. But you don't know that it's rooted based off of some other negative energy that you have in space. And this is where love got to advance to. Like love unions, you got to get to this point at some point in your evolution. You're going to have to deal with this. You're going to have to consciously have 365 days of no boo-boos. And that's just on the first cycle. So what happens in math where you have a negative and you introduce a positive? It just becomes zero, neutral. Now you got to come back again and stamp it with positivity. Now you plus one. So for you to even get on the positive side, if it's negative first, you got to neutralize it to zero, and then you got to reinforce it. And then the ones you got positive, you got to reinforce that so you can have more credits. Trust me, space is watching you. It's clocking you. Nobody tells you this. Space is watching and clocking you. That's your God. Okay? So if y'all got a question in the chat, Has Mars shifted or will it shift? What kind of shift? Like a pole shift or something? Mars has said to had iron at one point in time, and the reason why it gives off this reddish color is because it don't have no iron core anymore. I'm not a fan of Mars. I think we should blow it up. Um, yeah, I think we should blow Mars up. But right now, Mars is in Aquarius and will be there because it's in this retrograde thingy, and it's going to be there for a little minute. It's going to be there for a few more months. You know. Yeah. So why blow Mars up? Yeah. Because Mars, its energy represents warfare. When you Google it, Mars in astrology, bloodshed, war, cuts, bruises, passion, and sexual drives. But you still gonna be able to have all that without it. That nigga's a rogue. He's he's the burglar. He's the stick-up man of the zodiac. He robs people. A key word for him is robbery. And so every time somebody getting shot, you can best believe it that it's something to do with this guy. So the question is, if you can survive without that planet existing, and I know we can, what happens if you destroy it? Because if it is sending its own external energetic waves as we pass it, because we always pass Mars can never pass us because it's behind us. So it takes longer to go around the sun. So Mars have never physically passed us in motion. When we pass Mars, it's called Mars retrograde. That means the Earth is passing past it. And if you look at it now, it'll look like it's going backwards because you're moving forward. So every time Mars is in a certain position, when it comes back, here's the thing. When Mars comes to the place where it was when you were born, say the sun was there, you're accident prone at this time. Seriously. Man, we got a case study. So we know this. And then, even children can be 3 years old. Now they clumsy and, all of a sudden they clumsy and then bump their head and got a big old hickey on their head. But when you go look, you see Mars, which rules the head. Mars is in the same position where another planet was at when the person was born. See, the average astrologer is going to be like, oh, like me. I got Mars at 5 degrees Aquarius when I was born. Mars in the sky right now is like 9 degrees Aquarius. So one of the things I was having was a headache because Mars rules the head, right? Now, let's just say if I have another planet there, and I got the moon at 10 degrees Aquarius. But the moon ain't right there right now in the sky. But yet I'm having these feelings as if as if the planet was there. That's why I said it's the space that's recording the memory. Because the other planet, the planet when I was born, is not right there right now. So now what's going on? See, the average astrologer going to be like, oh, you got Mars conjunct the moon. No, you have Mars conjunct the space where the moon was. Let's be clear. Because the moon's not right there right now. So it's the space that's holding the memory. So every time Mars get right there, oftentimes it can signify some type of drama. So as a scientist, I wonder if we blow it up, will that drama exist now? You want to have a more peaceful world, then you need more peaceful, coherent energy coming to the earth. Mars is a disciple. He's a gangster. You see? So you need Venus and Jupiter, which is the more warming, abundant, loving energies. And then you can see those play out. You know what I'm saying? All right. What you say, D Brown? Traditional or actual? What's the difference? What you mean by traditional or actual charts? I'm using Western. Man, my sinuses be killing me, man. So I use Western, which is known as tropical, because I'm gonna tell you why, man. I'm gonna tell you why tropical got them faded. This whole reality is based upon the past. The sun in the sky right now, where you think you see it at, it was actually there 23 days ago. It's not right where you think you see it at. So you say the actual list of celestial bodies as they were 2000 BC and the 13th zodiac. All right, so no, I don't rock with it, only because, bro, I'm rocking with where things are right now, quote unquote, what appears to be right now. And I'm not rocking the 13th, mainly because what I saw from manuscripts of Timbuktu and them Arabic boys was some cold cats. They had 12. And when I look at the temple of Dendera, they had 12. Now, you do have a 13 calendar in Egypt where you can take a month and it'd be 13 20-day periods. But see, you can divide, we can have a month could be 52 weeks. In our system, we just say, hey, this week is, we're going to switch it. A week is a month and we got 52 months, but we know it's really a week. You see what I'm saying? So your measurement, you got the right to divide your 365 days up any way you want to. That's your prerogative. Because the question is, how long does it take us to go around the sun? If there's no discrepancy right there, then how you divide that up is 100% your prerogative. Okay. But when I start looking at this whole 12 and I kept in the records, shout out to my folks, the Quakers, the Society of Friends. And that's interesting. We in the Aquarius age, Abe Lincoln comes, and then the abolitionists, they was really the Quakers. And the Quakers are also known to be the Society of Friends. And Aquarius keyword is friendship. This is why I don't get into the black and white thing no more. Because nigga, get your hand out my pocket, niggas kill Malcolm. But abolitionists got you free. So anyway, I'm seeing 12, 12, 12, and 13 deals with the moon. So what happens in a solar year, you would have 12 full moons and 13 new moons, or you would have 13 full moons and 12 new moons in 365-day period. You would never have 13 and 13 because the moon phase works on her own thing. She's not always April the 1st. This year she's April the 1st. Next year she's going to be something else. You see what I'm saying? And so when I start looking at Christ and that story, the sun in the sky, traveling with the 12 disciples. So the son of God rolling with the 12 disciples is the sun in the sky going through the 12 zodiac sign. So I was like, oh shit, the 13th represents your supreme state of consciousness and understanding that all these signs are inside of you anyway. Aries is the head, Taurus is the throat, Gemini is the lungs and hands, Cancer is the breast and stomach, Leo is your spine and heart, Virgo is your intestines, Libra is your kidneys, Scorpio is your sexual organs, Sag is your thighs, hips, Aquarius is your feet, Capricorn is your skin, teeth, bones, hair, Aquarius is ankles, and Pisces is, and then you can go into these some say 11, but you can put 12 bodily systems because sometimes they don't put the immune system as a system. Then you got 12 bodily systems. So 13 to me represent the state of consciousness, but in your brain you got 2 pair of cranial nerves too, right? And so if you got these 12 cranial nerves and these 2 pair makes up 24 and your day is 24, then right now we're on a 12 base cycle. I think 13 is lunar. But it don't matter, because even when you go 13, you're gonna find a reason to give me 14. And you will keep on adding on, never realizing that you are the supreme being and you're all of these things. So I like to stop right there. I want to keep it simple. I like to really come back down to 3 tops. Because 3 represents the 3 primary colors of light in which everything becomes manifest. So I want to go back to source energy. God is this flower that's at the center of the circle, and then it keeps radiating out, and it gets bigger and bigger as it radiates outward. And then we get all these things, and we see all these magnificent glories, which are just different expressions of the great creator. But it's so easy for us to fall for the illusion and not see that great creator within ourselves. So I like to stay centered, focused, and keep it small. So the energy is ultimately inside of you when you understand the old school science, or rational mathematics, or medical astrology. And so, what angel or archangel resides over Capricorn? That's a good one. I ain't been in that bag in a long time. I can get my book right here though. I want to say Cassiel though. That's one of them. You got several of them, man. You got several of them. Zafikel, if I'm not mistaken. See see the angels, man. Again, you're gonna be going outside of yourself, and you're gonna be dealing with. You deal with an archangel of a planet, an archangel of a zodiac sign. Then within the zodiac sign, there's 30 degrees. So then it's called decadence, like a decade. So every 10 degrees, 20 through 29, the last 10 degrees, he'll go an angel that governs that one. Then you have more angels that say, okay, out of this 0 through 9, I'll take 0 through 4. Okay. And then the other one will say, well, I'll take 5 through 9. So now they split that decadent into 2. So it's kind of like a military thing where you got a supreme archangel, and then you got these lieutenants and generals that's all up under that thing. And then again, it just keeps, and then you got to keep track of all of this. And for what? It has a purpose, but you in the day right now where you are the angel. So you rock with them. You rock with the one that you vibe with the most, and however you see it is absolutely your prerogative. It will come as an external form, or it will come as an internal calling and feeling and vibration that you would get, and it's all based on your level of awareness. This is why when people die or have near-death experiences, they're having an experience that's based upon their belief. And if it's not their conscious belief in this lifetime, it was something that they believe that's still in their soul's memory. So you have all these various different systems and beliefs, and guess what? Everybody is right. So it's all about you becoming comfortable 100% with your system and your perception, because all of it is right. Whatever you believe it to be, that's what it is. So just be comfortable in your expression. You dig? All right. So again, man, I just wanted to do this on July 4th, man. Happy July 4th to you. Happy Syrian. And man, this is a great day. Independence. Are you independent? Who is that? Beyonce in there? All my ladies that's independent? You know? Oh, so that's why I was. So here's the thing, ladies and gents. So you got 2 systems of astrology, Eastern and Western, also known as Vedic. Eastern is Vedic. Even 13 sign astrology, they'll tell you. And I got proof that we call Sirius, the beings over there, and they answered back. They answered back in the year January the 13th of 2011, on that day, it was a great announcement that there was 13 signs of the zodiac, and they introduced Ophiuchus, but that was a code from the Syrian gods, from some work that was getting put in, that the signal that we sent out was received, and the 13th sign is about you coming online to your godhood, your ultimate state of consciousness, that you can reach Christ consciousness with the crown, with the thorn of crowns. And then Christ is buried at Golgotha, which translates to mean the place of the skull. It's about you coming online inside that brain of yours, which is the supercomputer that processes consciousness. It's not consciousness itself, but it's the main facilitator of consciousness. That thing go mushroom, you sit there and you're not having your one of your best, you're not having your maximum expression at that point when you're in the coma, bro. Okay. And so we got actual proof of what that energy is. Ophiuchus, the 13th sign, is really the companion and opposite star constellation of Orion. When you go back to the temple of Dendera zodiac boat, look and see how the boat of Ra sits above the actual zodiac belt itself. So what they're telling you is, around that time of year, they say, well, it's a little gap between Scorpio and Sag, and that little gap right there, that's Ophiuchus. For a short period of time, the sun is in front of Ophiuchus, and it could be in front of his leg if you want to look at it that way. But the ancient times, they didn't rock with it. Ophiuchus sits too far north. It sits a little bit above the belt. So therefore, and I'm telling you, based off right angle ascension, that it is the mirror to Orion. So when you look at Dendera, one of the oldest zodiac renditions, you're going to see that the boat of Ra don't sit in the same line that Scorpio and Sag and them do. It sits more north, just like Orion don't sit with Taurus in the zodiac. It sits a little bit more. Okay. So check it out. Go look at the Temple of Dendera zodiac rendition and see for yourself. Now, over time, things progress. Stars descend and fall, and constellations and new constellations form. This is where the priesthood, you got to get super busy, because when you can start writing stories based upon this. The whole Christ story on one level was talking about the whole damn, all this 144 and all this stuff, man. All these things are astronomical calculations dealing with the processions and shift of the ages, which will also correspond to how humanity would develop. Christ myth is a well-known fact. This is why Easter changes every year. It's based upon full moon. So that's a cosmic phenomenon that you recognize. And so if that's a fact, if Easter is not the same Sunday every Sunday, and it's not, and Easter is really waiting for the first full moon after the equinox, that following Sunday is Easter, then you're playing a cosmic phenomenon. This is a cosmic game. So then the whole book in itself must be a cosmic book. And then when you get inside of it, shit, you start talking about the Bear and Pleiades and Orions and Arcturus, and you start talking about these constellations and stuff. Genesis 49, Jacob is talking about the 12 zodiac signs. All right, same thing. You know what I'm saying? So now you can actually write stories. Man, I'm gonna pull out a webinar, man. I'm gonna pull out a webinar to show you how we actually wrote stories and how we used to write. Like, you can program the matrix based off of, you do it all the time, man. When you create a goal and you end up making that goal happen, you just put a program out there on a minor, that's on a minor level. You can do it collectively. We can do it more on a bigger level as well. So it ain't even hard to really understand we can do that. You know what I mean? But back to the past tense thing, and I get off this thing. So the sun, Eastern astrology is Vedic. And they'll tell you right now, like, yo, y'all, no, the sun is in front of Gemini right now in the sky. And they're correct. If we were to dim the light of the sun, it would appear to be in front of Gemini right now. But yet we saying Cancer season. Shout out Kevin Hart, 50 Cent, Charlemagne the God, everybody, Jim Jones coming. Everybody is like Cancer season, right? But in real time, quote unquote, it looked like the sun is in Gemini. So what's happening? There's a 23-degree difference between the two systems of astrology. On this side, we say, no, this is Cancer. It's like calling Minister Jew a Taurus. Like, come on, stop it. He's so Gemini. Ain't even funny. Like, really? It's like probably calling Pac a Taurus. Like, stop. Prince a Taurus. You can clearly see Prince is one of them crazy Geminis, man. Stop it. And so the point is, if the Earth is tilted at 23.5 degrees on this axis, what a coincidence. You see with the naked eye. It baffles me. I don't understand how astronomers think that you could judge this thing based off what you see with the naked eye. It looked like the sunrise and set, but it does not. It looked like the moon changed shapes, and it physically does not change its shape. So that's proof in itself that this place is a lie. We're living in the cosmic illusion, right? Yeah, you can do that and put that check on a firecracker and blow it up in the sky on a bottle rocket. JAL 716. So the sun is said to be about 93 million miles away from us. You dig? You don't feel it. You don't see the earth. You don't feel the earth spinning and moving at this fast speed that it's said to be moving at almost 1100 miles per hour. Per second. Like, you don't feel it in a sense, right? And so this place again is just an illusion. So the sun, where you think it is in real time, right? Like, that thing technically was there 23 days ago. Mars takes 2 months to move through a zodiac sign. So that was 2 months ago that you think it's right there in the sky of Capricorn. It's not right there. You can't see it in real time. So it's sort of like, when you look at a fish in water, it's called refraction. You think the fish is right here, but it's really over there. So this thing is about motion and light bouncing off of different planets, creating this thing. So this thing is refraction, and we're not even calculating speeds. This is why the Earth is tilted at 23. The systems apart from each other is 23 degrees. And then Michael Jordan comes at 23, the bull, Taurus, Orion, and that energy, right? It comes and serve you up. Because he's embodying a certain principle that deals with creation. This stuff is very real. Certain people going to carry out certain archetypes. And so when you understand light 93 million miles away from us, it takes 8 minutes to get here on average. That light has interacted. Like, it took 93 million miles, 8 minutes of traveling through space. You then went through the orbital track of Mercury and Venus. You then came through the Earth atmosphere. You then interacted with all these different waves of energy, communication lines, cell phone lines is around you, and you keep in course just to land and touch you that you're feeling on your body. So what you feel is really past tense, something that was ejected, light from the sun 8 minutes ago. So this stuff could be so far away that right now, technically, if the sun had blew out, the light that we see is shit that was burning 8 minutes ago. So right now, we don't know if the sun has totally blown out. We have to wait 8 minutes to see if it's going to be forever dark. My point in saying that is all of our cosmic experiences is based upon past tense, when you see it and when you feel it. The only way that you go to the future is you have to imagine. I'm getting up, brushing my teeth, going to work. And then you do it. The future only exists in your imagination. And all cosmic interactions are interactions of the past. This is why when you meet certain people, I promise you, significant people in your life hold some type of record with them from the past. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna come off of it with that. What up, Toy? You know what I mean? So I'm gonna come off of it with that, man. Yeah, appreciate you. Definitely. So happy Independence Day. I'm gonna get up here, get in this kitchen, get it cracking. Your goal. What's the homework assignment? Take a goal, put a symbol, go to the store, get you some bottle rockets. All right. Put a symbol on, because you want to become independent. Now's the time to do it. Like, you got to understand this thing. United States became free. You know what I mean? They became free at this particular time, at the Great Alignment. So you in this pocket of space, it's the happiest moment in the entire solar system, this and Christmas. Okay. And so you want to utilize this light right now and put the symbol on a bottle rocket, light that bottle rocket, send that shit out into the ether and let it explode. And then you want to follow that up with work. Okay. And then you want to come over to my math group that starts this Sunday. I want you to come over here and learn how to analyze some $1 million deals, man. Little $500 deal, $200,000 deal, so we can get some paper. I'm gonna shoot a video tomorrow. Traveling, going to a location, but I'm gonna shoot a video tomorrow, man, and I'm gonna show y'all something. All right, I'm gonna post it. I'm gonna show y'all access to some serious guap that can change our lives, but we gotta follow up with action. All right, so I'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.